And we're back. Did you miss me? Of course you did. My name is Dusty Thompson and we are reading Almost Odis, my book. If you haven't got your copy, please buy your copy and please subscribe below. I see people on YouTube doing that. Subscribe's right down there. Click on subscribe. It costs you nothing and you get updated every time I post a new video. And I post a lot of videos that are awesome. I think this is number 47 or something, or 50 or something. So if you want to keep seeing me in your inbox, then please subscribe. If you don't want to see me in your inbox, subscribe anyway. I'm delightful. We're on page 215, the blog dated Monday, November 26, 2012, The Perks of Knowing a Good Old Boy. Throughout the time I have shared with you the ins and outs of living with a dad, I haven't done a whole lot of reminiscing about the more interesting perks of having a good old boy for a dad. I recently spent a week in Hawaii with my family for an early Christmas. My family currently includes my niece's boyfriend, who is saddled with the unfortunate nickname Rika. The very nice young man's parents named him Chad. My sister started calling him Chad Rika for reasons known only to her, and I asked and she had no answer. As she is prone to do, she shortened it to simply Rika and refers to him by that moniker in all of our conversations. I have started calling him Rika in my head. For example, when I was making my Christmas list, I actually wrote "shirt for Rika" on my list. The dad even calls him Rika and thought he was Hispanic, which made for an odd conversation when the boy arrived at my house this June and in walked a blonde boy. The dad ever so eloquently stated, "I ain't never seen a blonde-headed Mexican. Are you sure that's Rika?" When I attempted to make light of the situation due to the reddening face of Rika himself by stating Castilian Spaniards can be blonde, the dad flagged down that train with his usual bluster. "Ain't no such thing as a blonde-headed Mexican." I returned from my trip on Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve if you will, and reminded the dad he had promised to eat dinner at co-workers Greg and Louise's home the following day. Well, you would have thought I'd ask him to wear a tutu or volunteer at a nursing home considering the look he gave me. To clarify, he doesn't like old people. You see, the dad is not a social person, which comes as a bit of a shock to some of you. Granted, he can turn on the charm when he wants to, and if you get past the shockingly un-PC statements he is prone to make, he will make you laugh, albeit sometimes nervously, and always looking around to see who heard you laugh, as it was probably slightly vulgar. He can act right in front of company when he wants to. Unfortunately for me, I am not considered company. To ensure he remained in a reasonably interactive mood, I plied him with breakfast at our favorite diner, Jason's, and then let him get a nap in before we left for Greg and Louise's. One of the only reasons my father agreed to attend is Greg is one of his favorite people, partially because he looks like a biker and owns a Harley. I think he likes Greg more than he likes me. Scratch that. I know he likes Greg more than he likes me. And as I quote, "Greg is macho." Shockingly, I am not considered macho, a term used exclusively by my father and the village people, and Randy Savage. When we got to Greg's, I distracted him with football on the big screen and ruffles with onion dip until dinner was served. Thank goodness they had a honey-baked ham, the dad's favorite holiday protein. After we ate, he sat back down with Greg and watched football and told lies about Vietnam, the country with the fighting back then, and Germany with the women back then, and other standard après dinner conversation topics. After a couple of hours, which was much surprising, he said he needed to go as his ASS had started to hurt. On the way to the door, someone asked why the dad calls Adam, my management trainee, George. I tried to explain the nicknames my family doles out, and the odd names my father loves to give to various animals who have had the joy of being members of our household. Dogs named Missy, Goober, Digger, Liquor, Snoopy, Satan, yes, Satan, Sophie, Pepper, Hot Dog, and Lulu. I just adore my Lulu, although I wish her name was not the same as a now deceased overweight reformed stripper who became a Christian and sang on Hee Haw. The dad has claimed I have stole his dog, which is accurate. I have tried to get her to answer to the name Paisley, but she will have none of it. You can take the dog out of the patch. The conversation then turned to the odd assortment of other animals we have owned, such as horses, cows, sheep, guinea pigs, and parrots, plural. One parrot in particular was named Seymour. Christmas 1981, we drove the 13 hours from Oklahoma to my grandparents' farm in Alsatia, Louisiana, population 27, not counting goats or horses. My mother was driving. I, my sister, brother, 694 Christmas gifts, and our poodle Pepper were in the back seat with the dad riding shotgun with Seymour on his shoulder. Yes, you read that correctly. This shoulder right here. As he was slumped in the front seat sleeping, some random heathens mistakenly thought my mother was the only adult in the car. Somehow finding enough confidence to terrorize the family while driving a Ford Pinto, these ruffians proceeded to pass us and then pull over in front of us and slow down to 20 miles an hour. As I inherited my lead foot from my mother, and because back then Oklahoma highways had no posted speed limit, my mother easily passed them, making great time on our sojourn toward the farming community of her youth. After several episodes of the passing and subsequent slowing down with these hooligans, the dad woke up and asked her what was going on. When she explained the situation, it poked the proverbial bear, and he asked me if I had brought my early Christmas present, a knife. My sister wondered aloud what good a pocket knife would do, having apparently forgotten my father somehow misinterpreted my Christmas wish list to include Bowie knife with 8-inch blade and snakeskin handle, when actually what I had asked for was electronic battleship and a sweater. Being an almost Odis requires a poker face when receiving gifts, not unlike the time I asked for a monogrammed button-down and an Argyle sweater and received a .22 rifle with a scope. So many redneck boys would have been thoroughly happy. I was not. I never even used the gun. My mother used it once to shoot a coyote. And she did too. She was a very good shot. I grabbed the knife and we had a mid-air swap as he threw the parrot in the back seat and proceeded to hang his upper torso out of the window and waved the knife, asking the MFers to politely join him in a discussion of the merits of leaving us alone. For some unknown reason, assumingly alcohol, the threat of a large bearded fellow waving a Bowie knife was not enough to distract these wayward souls from their intended mission of, I am guessing, harassing people, because they repeated the pass and slow down routine several more times. Having more than enough of the situation, the dad asked my mother ever so politely if she was finished with her diet glass bottle of tab. When she indicated she was, in fact, no longer in need of the diet refreshment, he asked her to pull alongside the Pinto. When he could see the whites of the driver's eyes, like General Washington taught us in that song, he proceeded to introduce the full half bottle, to quote an old basketball cheer, smooth upside the head of the driver, causing an abrupt departure of the Pinto from the pavement. With that, he turned to my mother and said, "Solve that problem, Mama. Let's get on to Alsatia." Actions do speak louder than words, y'all. For real. And we'll stop there and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.